Hey Warrior fans, my name is Knock.
And I'm Alyssa.
Welcome to Warriors Weekly, your weekly sports source for WLC Athletics. Each week we will review, preview what happened and what's to come in the world of athletics at WLC.
This week's edition of the show features interviews with men's and women's cross country, men's golf, football, and also women's tennis. We will get to them later in the show. Now let's go to Sports Information Director Adam Heinzen for the latest scores around WLC.
Thanks, Alyssa. In other Warriors action this past week, the men's soccer team hosted 4th-ranked Dominican University Tuesday evening at Warrior Field, trailing 3-0 at halftime. The 4th-ranked Stars scored 5 second-half goals to defeat the Warriors 8-0. On Saturday, Wisconsin Lutheran hosted Edgewood College at Warrior Field. After falling behind 1-0 at halftime, the Eagles scored 1 goal in the second half, and the Warriors fell 2-0. On Wednesday, the Warriors women's soccer team traveled to River Forest, Illinois to take on Concordia University Chicago. The Warriors and Cougars played to a 2-2 double overtime draw. That same night, the volleyball team hosted Aurora University in search of its 9th straight victory. The Warriors swept the Spartans 3-0 to go to 7-2 in the Northern Athletics Conference. The volleyball team spent their fall break weekend in Memphis, Tennessee at the Rhodes College Fall Break Classic. Unfortunately, the Warriors saw their 9-match winning streak come to an end as they went 1-3 on the weekend. They'll return to Northern Athletics Conference action this week with a pair of matches. Let's send it back to Knock and Alyssa in the studio.
Thanks, Adam.
The men's golf team finished its fall season October 9th and 10th at the NAC tournament at Whistling Straits in Kohler, Wisconsin, the same location where the U.S. Open was played earlier this summer. I had a chance to talk with head coach Adam Volbert and junior captain Caleb Pearson about the team and Caleb's play at the tournament.
Coach Volbert, can you recap your 2010 season for me, please?
Yeah, we had a season that started out in some awful windy conditions and really put our guys to a test. And unbelievably, the weather just kept getting better and our scores continued to come down a little bit. Guys worked really, really hard throughout the season in practice and on their own to improve. And by the end of the season, we had guys putting up some of their better scores of the year. And just as an overall recap, I was really pleased at the amount of progress that we showed, taking a young team that was not very experienced at the collegiate level and turning them into some guys with some experience that have now had some good competitive rounds in their belts, some good scores. And I expect as we move forward that the consistency will come and the consistent low scores will come even more.
Caleb, how do you prepare for a tournament, both mentally and physically?
Physically, if I know the golf course, I'm going to practice shots that I know I'm going to have to hit. So, certain tee shots or certain iron shots into greens, so I can give myself the best possible chance to get the best score on the hole, obviously. And mentally, on the range, I'll just literally play golf holes on the driving range. So, I'll take a driver and then a 7-iron and play into a hole and do that multiple times. And then by the time you get to the tournament, the feeling of, playing competitively and getting in that mindset is ingrained already. So it's, and then when you get to the tournament, it's a lot more comfortable.
What's been your favorite course to play and also the toughest one to play?
My answer is for both. It's probably the Irish course out at Whistling Straits. We are honored and privileged to play there every year. The course is in superb condition and it's always a test, especially when the winds come up. But it's definitely the toughest and it's by far my favorite course we play all year.
Coach, what are your thoughts on Caleb's season low, 78?
Hey, he did it at the at the toughest course that we play on, the biggest venue at the NAC Fall Tournament. That was fulfilling for me as a coach because Caleb struggled a little bit at the beginning of the year. Came off a really strong summer where he worked really hard. Came into the season very well prepared. Made some changes with his swing and some of his changes as his approach to golf, and struggled to begin with. But as a captain, he stayed positive as a role model, continued to work hard, and didn't let his frustration get in the way of his preparation. And then when push came to shove, and the winds blew at the Irish course, Caleb put up 2 really solid rounds, including his season low 78, which allowed him to jump from 26 in all conference standings to 13th in just 2 days, which is amazing.
Caleb, what's been one of those shots that you remember the most on your past 3 golf seasons?
It has to be one from this year. It's kind of a fluke shot, actually. We were on the 15th hole at the Irish course, and it's like a 450-yard par 4. And I had 210 into the green, into the wind, and I was in a fairway bunker. And I look at our other assistant coach, Andy Baxter's walking, and I'm like, I'm just going to lay this ball up close to the green. Well, of course, I hit it thin, and the ball cuts up, lands about 10 feet behind the Rockford player, rolls up to within 15 feet of the hole. Best shot I've had all year, and probably the luckiest, so it was nice. It was nice.
Coach, how do you feel your team performed this past weekend at the NAC tournament?
I was excited after the first day. We were sitting 6th. This year we added a 10th team. Last year we finished 8th out of 9. We were sitting 6th out of 10. I was really, really pleased by their effort and the results that we saw the first day. The second day we slipped back a little bit. We finished 8th. Again, with the added team, we moved up a spot in conference, and some good things are happening. I'm really excited about growing our team, getting the guys that we had competing some more experience and more opportunity to compete at this level. And I think the results will continue to come down in score-wise, and we'll continue to pick off teams ahead of us in conference. And I would love to see us, move up another spot or 2 in the spring, and then the fall, 1 or 2 more spots, sit in the top half of conference, and that's a really, really positive step forward for us.
All right. Thank you for your time, and congratulations on your 2010 season. Back to you, Knock.
WLC women's tennis, led by head coach Pam Tolberg, concluded its season as well last weekend, October 2nd and 3rd in Madison. Catherine Hendy and Lindsay Gauger received all NAC honors for their play this season. I had a chance to speak with Coach Tolberg about her team's season and Catherine about her all-conference honors. Coach Tolberg, can you recap your team's 2010 season for us?
Sure. We ended up with the same record as last year, so it might not look like we had that much success. But we played 10 schools last year that we played again this year, and I like to take the football stat of takeaway giveaway. We had 2 of those schools that we didn't do as well in. We either won last year and lost this year, or lost with a worse score this year. So that's a -2. But we had 8 schools that we played where we did better. Now, it doesn't mean we necessarily won this year when we lost last year, but we maybe lost last year, won 8, and this year we lost 4 or 5. So I look at that as a big positive, and that our year was a success.
Catherine, how do you prepare for matches, both mentally and physically?
Well, I make sure that I have a snack beforehand for energy, usually both on and off the court. And I listen to my coaches if they have advice beforehand and during the matches. I also try to remain calm and focused and keep myself positive so that I can never give up in my matches.
Catherine, you were named to the All-NAC singles team, All-NAC sportsmanship team, and the All-NAC doubles team with your freshman teammate, Lindsay Gauger. How do you feel about receiving those honors?
I was very excited. From the beginning of the season, Coach had laid it out that these might be goals to work towards, and so I made it as a personal goal for myself to try for it. So when I found out that I could get these honors at the tournament, I was very excited and tried to do my best, and so when Coach told me, I was pretty happy.
Well, congratulations on those honors. What part of Catherine's game do you think she improved the most over this season, Coach?
Catherine came in as a very experienced freshman. She knew the game of tennis. I think this year we've worked a lot more on mental strategy, being tough on the court mentally, and then a little bit of strategy on the court, doubles versus singles, and I think we pushed a little bit on the serve this year too.
Catherine, with receiving all those honors as a sophomore, what are your expectations going into your junior season?
Well, I would like to improve upon my conference win record next year, winning 1 or 2 more matches than I did this year. I'd also like to do better in the tournament, winning, again, 1 or 2 more singles matches and getting farther, and also try to get these honors again next year.
Coach, with such a young team and everyone returning, what are your expectations for next season?
I'm looking at it very positively. We have a couple freshmen coming in that are going to be experienced, and adding in all the ladies who are on the team this year who will be returning. I think it's going to be a positive year.
Thank you, ladies, for joining me today. Now back to Alyssa in the studio.